So, today we're gonna talk about plague doctors, just because I've been actually really interested in these people, and I think maybe afterwards or until I get the point or we get the point, maybe we're also gonna talk about something else. I just don't know at this point in time. We're gonna see, you know? But you know when? We're gonna see that exactly after the intro. I'll see you after the intro. And as you might hear as well, I've actually soundproofed everything a little tiny bit, so I don't know if you can see that, but there's just stuff all over the place, so that everything is a little bit tiny, or a little tiny bit more just soundproof and nicer, and just not like that shit, you know, just really not that shit. But yeah, without just saying a lot, I think we're just gonna head hop right into the whole thing. And since we are in the situation we are at this point in time, I would actually not like to go through that kind of basically, but I think it is just such an interesting thing because you've probably seen it as well, but only just in terms of not really nightmares as they say, but in terms of nightmares, in terms of like it is a nightmare if you see somebody like this, and why the fuck have they been wearing so dumb motherfucking masks and shit, and have been looking that strangely. And this is why I'm actually want to go through it, because I mean, we have also seen that in video games and stuff, and I've always wondered, you know, I've literally always wondered why and what this is, and if this is actually a real thing, but apparently it is actually a real thing. So I'm gonna read. This is my point. Long story short, I'm gonna read. 17th century plague doctors were the stuff of nightmares. From Cheslin Shields, I guess, February the 12th, 2020. The long-baked mask of the plague doctors was typically filled with sweet or strong-smelling herbs, such as wormwood. The main ingredient is absinthe, which were believed to filter out miasma or bad air. Okay. Some of the creepiest things out there are the ones that are supposed to be funny, and some of the funniest things are the ones we're supposed to take seriously. For instance, clowns are supposed to be hilarious, and yet, according to one 2016 Vox survey, more Americans report being more afraid of clowns than climate change. Similarly, during the outbreak of the bubonic plague in Italy in the 1650s, the doctors taking care of the sick, rich and poor alike were purportedly mocked for their strange and somewhat frightening uniforms. Although the plague had bedeviled southern Europe during this time was nearly as destructive as the Black Death of the 14th century. It is estimated to have killed over 1 million people in Italy and surrounding areas over the course of the decade, which is insane fucking shit. So please stay fucking home, that we're not gonna have such a fucking shit, like a decade of just this shit, like no, thank you. And to have killed over 1 million people, blah blah blah, but mostly between 1656 and 1658, no one was safe, and since the germ theory of disease wouldn't reinvent medicine for another 200 years, the Italians figured desperate times called for desperate measures, and so they sent their physicians out in the most bonkers costume imaginable. And yeah, it really is, but I do wonder why. Like, you could have just chosen anything, but they've just chosen a fucking bird's mask. Quite, you know? But anyway, just because I'm talking about it, stay home, stay healthy, and I really deeply hope, it is so deep in my heart, I really hope that you're feeling good and feeling fine, feeling whatever, you know, really. So please stay home, please do something for your health, please just take care of your health. And I'm gonna have to take care of my hair, but for real now. You know, for real now. Stay home and stay healthy. Do a lot of things for your health as well. Just try to work out, try to eat healthier, and try all those things. Like, I mean, it's shit going on right now, and you should not also kind of fuck with your body with just eating only bullshit and stuff. Like, I guess at least, at my point of view. I think it is just something that could make sense, kind of. The plague doctor costume. For starters, these doctors wear masks, but not just any mask. It was the face of a white bird, wearing goggles and a top hat. They wore long dark robes, heavy gloves, and carried batons they used to point to things. Is it like just the walking stick they're having? Stick, rod, stuff, wand, it is. Maybe because it was so hard to hear them through their mask, I wonder. Paul Fürst, a German visitor to Italy during this time, wrote about this outlandish Italian custom of physicians dressing like creepy bird people. You believe it is a fable that is written about Dr. Break? Oh, believe and don't look away, for the plague rules Rome, he remarked. And though the 15th century Germans, like the rest of us, thought the outfit seemed a little much, there was a reason for it, even if the reason don't have any scientific backing by today's standards. But back in the days, I guess they had some standards, I'd say. Quite, Frank, to a Glasgow-based artist, dresses in medieval plague doctor costume while promoting his exhibition, The Human Condition, in Edinburgh, Scotland. I mean, I think if you just know the connotation of that and if you know the meaning behind that, I personally wouldn't kind of joke with that, because, I mean, especially with shit that's going on right now, like it's not such a fun thing. Just death, Black Death, any plague and stuff, like it is a fucked up shit. All the parts of the plague doctor's outfit, and especially the shape of the mask, were believed to provide protection for the doctors, says Winston Black, an independent historian of medicine and religion in the Middle Ages and author of The Middle Ages, Facts and Fictions, in an email interview. However, the protection wasn't from germs or bacteria on the patient, which would not be understood until the modern era. Instead, doctors believed that some disease like plague was generated by poisoned air called miasma, or miasma, or however it is actually pronounced, I don't know. But I do then also wonder, like, I mean, if we just have a look at this, like, and the thing is actually kind of, it's kind of an interesting thing. Like, if it is about air, then yeah, okay, we could argue that because you're having such a long thing in front of your nose that there is a lot of space between you and the air, kinda. But I mean, if something goes through those goggles that seem to be, I don't know, just somehow integrated into this fucking mask. But yeah, but I think in general, as they also pointed out there, I think it's not been such an unuseful thing, because by wearing this, like, there's no fucking reason or chance that any germs or bacteria or whatever just gets to you. Quite, but still, creepy shit. The miasma theory of disease. Miasma, also called bad, is it Italian then? I don't know. Also called bad air or night air, was thought to emanate from rotting organic matter and infect people through their respiratory system. Respiratory system, or skin. Of course, contaminated water, poor hygiene, and the lack of sanitation in settlements were the real culprits behind most of the epidemics that took place up until the 19th century. But how were they to know? Instead of remedying those problems, I don't know, they spent their time tricking out their plague doctor costumes. Well, not a good idea. According to one set of instructions for plague doctors, the cloak and hat should cover the entire body and be made of oiled Moroccan leather to prevent miasma entering the pores, says Black. Sweating or just being under this fucking outfit, like, you must sweat all the fucking time, I guess. But yeah, I still think that it kind of helped back in the days. The most important element was the long-baked mask. It was to be filled with sweet or strong-smelling herbs, which were believed to block or filter out the miasma. One of the most popular herbs was wormwood, the main ingredient of absinthe, which has a very strong odor. The mask could also simply hold a vinegar-soaked sponge, since the strong smell of vinegar was also thought to block miasma. Oh, it's just, so in the end, the whole thing in front of your nose is just a container for stuff, apparently, I guess. And I mean, like in that sense, it also makes sense. But of course, you could just also have a bowl in front of your fucking nose. You don't have to just have such a long thing. Maybe, of course, maybe aesthetics also played into that, but I don't know. It could be the case. The life of a plague doctor. Aside from the fact that they were made fun of by the Germans, not much is known about the plague doctors of the 17th century. Our best understanding is that they were municipal doctors working in large cities for the urban government or the monarchy. They probably were most common in southern European cities like Rome, Milan, and some might even have been active in the south of France. Because they were public servants, they probably did not have clients per se, says Black. Instead, they went around the city during a plague outbreak, making decisions about which houses to look up or condemn, which neighborhoods to quarantine, and so on. Did plague doctors actually wear this costume? Although there were certainly doctors attending to victims of the plague during the outbreak in the 17th century in southern Europe, evidence that anyone actually wore this outfit in a real plague outbreak is thin on the ground. Most of what we have are satirical writings and images, like modern political cartoons. And this actually seems to be one. 1656 colorized version of Gerhard Alzenbach's copper engraving of Dr. Schnabel, which is actually the German word for the fucking thing that you're having in front of your nose there. It's called Schnabel. I don't actually know what it is called in English, so I can't translate it, I'm sorry. Dr. Bake, a plague doctor in the 17th century in Rome. It's telling that the most popular image, Gerhard is called Dr. Bake or Beak, whatever, from Rome, which suggests fewer people took them seriously and most considered them Italian. says Black. What does that mean? Yeah, consider somebody Italian. This is a little bit like not good. A little bit like not good. I don't like that. Our best evidence that the elaborate costume even existed come from a description of the French royal physician Charles Delorme or something. Delorme is sometimes given credit for inventing the get-up, but according to Black, that's probably unlikely. There are already descriptions from the later 16th century of doctors wearing protective masks. Perhaps Delorme should be credited with creating an outfit that was supposed to protect the entire body of the doctor. Despite this French claim to the creation of the outfit, most other Europeans agreed it was Italian in origin. But even if the outfit wasn't as widespread as we now imagine, the development of the plague doctor and his creepy, silly costume will suggest important changes were afoot in medicine and public health during this time. Doctors were developing stronger ideas about how contagious diseases like plague could be, and more doctors were working in public capacities, hired to care for the health of entire cities or neighborhoods, and just for individual wealthy patients, says Black. Which, yeah, is totally the case. Like, I think we really can see a change there. I think this just shows once again how important just even such satirical and stuff is. Quite, because it shows us something, First of all, it shows humor, kind of, or which type of humor they had back in the days, but also just a lot of other shit. And this, by the way, is again from the How Stuff Works site. I think it's actually a pretty interesting site, because I don't know, this is just something that I've really been interested in for quite some time, because I've literally always wondered why. Why are they looking like this? Is this really something that's real? And now I know, kinda. It is real. But there's actually also a lot of other articles. Like this one, this really catched my mind. Mongoose versus Cobra. Who would win in a ground match? Or grudge. What is a grudge match? Grudge match. The attack was carried out by someone with a grudge. Grievance, resentment, bitterness, pique, and stuff. I do wonder, because I kind of want to just also end the episode in a little bit of a different way, kind of. Not in like this kind of way. But yeah, anyway. Mongooses are adept at killing snakes, such as cobra, due to their agility, thick coats, and a glycoprotein they produce that makes them immune to snake venom, which is fucking cool. There aren't very many animals out there that could fight a king cobra and eat it for dinner, but a mongoose is one of them. Before we go any further, let's talk about mongooses in general. Have you ever seen a mongoose? There are 29 species of them, and not all of them look the same. They are all, however, long-bodied, short-eared, weaselly-looking animals, some of which attack and eat venomous snakes. They aren't very closely related to weasels, though. If you are an animal in the order Carnivora, which is, by the way, something that's pretty interesting, like the whole carnivore diet. And now I'm seeing like Carnivora, which seems to be some species, I guess, something. The order of mammals that are mostly carnivorous and have teeth adapted for flesh eating. And you can either be on team. Like carnivore is probably like a scientific explanation or expression for a meat eater, I guess. By the way, the lighting today is pretty cool. Even though it's actually has been snowing today a bit, not much, just a bit, but still, let's see, where did I stop? You can either be on team dog or team cat. Weasels are related to dogs, and however much mongooses look like weasels, they are firmly on team cat. In fact, a meerkat is a mongoose. Cat is right there in its name. Yeah, meerkat, just with a K instead of a C. Mongooses are colonial animals, meaning they live in colonies, and most species live in Africa. Although one species, the Javan mongoose or Javan mongoose, has been introduced to Europe and has also wreaked havoc in ecosystem. I'm very sorry. And so on, but how can it be that a skinny mongoose can take one of the most venomous snakes in the world, like the hulking king cobra, whose venom can kill an adult human in around 30 minutes, which is quite fast. The grunge match that was popularized in a short story, blah 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 blah, have allowed mongooses to add venomous snakes to their list of. Is a mystifying one, but a few specialized traits have allowed mongooses, blah, yeah. So for starters, mongooses are quick and agile and have strong jaws and thick hides to block those scary cobra fangs. They also don't mind rushing a cobra, which is, in spite of its size and extravagantly toxic venom, actually very shy and uninterested in tangling with anybody. Competitive humans and mongooses are at the very top of a king cobra's avoid list, apparently, as far as we know right now. But then chemistry gets involved. It's not impossible for a mongoose to get sick or even die from a cobra bite, but mongooses make a glycoprotein that binds to the protein in the venom, so a moderate amount of snake venom won't hurt them. Fascinating creatures, mongooses, however. If you live in the United States, you definitely can't have one as a pet. They are prohibited animals in every state except Hawaii, where they are considered a dangerous invasive species. So either you just shouldn't have them, or you can kill them and just, I don't know, murder them and shit. But because I'm thinking about it, today's question of today. Today's question, and because it is loading once again, I'm just gonna go ahead with the question of today. The question of today is, I actually should really indeed think about a question before I just start the recording or something, and not try to come up with something really quickly and shit. But I mean, like, do you care about your health? Do you care about your health in terms of eating healthy, trying to eat a relatively well diet and balanced diet and all those things? If you tried it, it's good. If you succeeded it, it's even better. But if you don't, I really heavily suggest you to do so, especially in these times where we just really see how important our health is. And most often we're just realizing that when we are not having, when we're not having the quote-unquote health that we could have had. But yeah, with that being said, I wish you the best health and happiness and also success, and also hope that you're going to remind yourself and you're going to be remembered, which basically means your legacy. Basically means just being a nice person and then being also remembered as a nice person. Yeah. And 3 other questions that I'm having for you are: why are you here? What are you trying to change? And what is bothering you the most? These 3 questions are hopefully going to show you a purpose and maybe even a business idea, which is a good thing, a really good thing. And yeah, so thank you a lot. I hope that I can end the episode then, but it's still loading. Still loading, this motherfucker. But it's fine. Maybe you can find something in the meantime. Just reading some headlines. Maybe they are interesting for you. Let's see. Artificial intelligence. 7 facts they got wrong in school about Christopher Columbus. That's me. Columbus set out to prove the world was round. Columbus was Italian. I think he was... what was he? Portuguese or Spanish? Not. This is a touchy subject since Italian Americans are some of Columbus' greatest supporters and defenders, but if you're going to be historically accurate, Columbus couldn't have been Italian because Italy wasn't a thing. Columbus was born in Genoa, which is now a part of Italy, but the Kingdom of Italy wasn't unified until 1861, more than 350 years after Columbus sailed to America. Genoa was an independent republic with its own language and currency. Complicating matters was that Columbus left Genoa early and made his name in Portugal and Spain. Yes, that's that. So yeah, thank you a lot. I appreciate it so much. Please stay healthy. Please stay happy. Please stay whatever. And thank you very much from the bottom of my fucking heart. Like, it just means so much to me. Also, yesterday I've received another subscribe and it just means so much to me. Thank you.